Yo, 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 yo. Good morning. 5 people. I mean, good evening, USA. A-OK, USA. I just thought I'd just jump on, do a stream. Nothing too dramatic has happened in the last, like, 48 hours or since the last time I streamed. All the tariff trade war situation, that's still happening. As I'm sure everyone's aware, I don't really have to talk about that too much, but we're still in... Wait, let me turn the music down a touch. We're still in, like, this massive falling wedge on Bitcoin. Like I said in the last stream, like, we came in and tested that previous high, so that's been like a really nice test of resistance, prior resistance becoming future support. So from like a market structure perspective, just at least in this chunk of the chart, so this is like the local, the 2025 kind of situation. It's all downtrend, there's no doubt about that. I don't think anyone's trying to defend and say this is uptrend. It's definitely a downtrend. So, just to boil it out real simple, just smooth it out, it's something like this. So, to get things back on track and bullish again, I think these highs here, getting back above them, would make a local switch. It would flip us back into an uptrend sort of thing. So we're on the way, you know, we've come up, and you can see this is why trend lines are so important, I think, in doing technical analysis. Is like I've said in previous streams, of course, like how they produce a future kind of area. It's kind of like a roadmap almost of like where price is going to have an interaction on the chart. So you got, I'll do numbers on the top. You got 1, 2, 3. These two didn't quite make it to the 1, 2, 3 trend line here, so I'll just ignore those. And even this one's a little truncated, but you've got 4, definitely like a really dirty, like a fake out here of 5, and now you're getting like a test of it at 6. But the sooner you identify a trend line, the more it will help you in knowing where things might start slowing down or reversing or getting rejected. It's more often than not, price will obey a trend line. Occasionally, you get a breakout, which is, you know, that's less common, but so I think, yeah, the fact that if I go down to like the 1 hour chart, you can see we've bumped right on the trend line, you know, so it's not rocket science, it's nothing too special about it. It's pretty straightforward, anyone can do it. On the bottom side, we've got less activity. It's trying to repeatedly meet the resisting, like the upward resistance trend, rather than the crashing support trend. But, you know, these 2 points stood out to me the most for like the bottom side. So you've got like, I sort of worked backwards with that. I picked that point and then that point and then scribed a line backwards and found that it kind of linked up with that that V right there. So it's the pivots that you're looking for. You know, even that was almost a touch, but not quite. Yeah, that's just a wick. This is actually like price action V shape, you know, where there's actual candle closes creating that shape. So I think the top side, you've got a bit more uniformity. There's a bit more like it's a bit more established. The bottom side's a little bit more questionable. It's like, where does that actually come from? Like where do you draw it? It doesn't really matter in this scenario, because like we're in a falling wedge essentially, or it's a bull flag, however you want to cut it. Like you could even say it's like it's starting from up over here and cutting across like that, you know, and that maybe gets a bit more of the relevancy of these candles in play. They're a bit more, they become relevant finally, yeah, rather than just chopping them off like that. But either way you cut it, both are falling wedges, both are bullish continuation patterns. That's what's kind of tracing out, that's what I'm following. I don't know, you might have noticed the title of the stream is Hang in There, Crypto Fam, mainly because it's been testing our patience, just like last year. Like this was a big old test of everyone's patience. 7 months of sideways, basically. Range trading. This one's a little bit more nasty because it's actually a falling range. This is like a sideways range, which is good for like gridbot or like just range traders, people like that were willing to go long, you know, on the bottom half, and then willing to take profits on the top half kind of thing. But yeah, this one's a little trickier. I would just be tracking the boundaries of this price action on Bitcoin. And of course, Bitcoin is like the broader indicator for the rest of the market. So all of the altcoins would be looking to Bitcoin for guidance kind of thing. Or just like sentiment and direction. So on the bottom side, we got A, B, C. Actually, you know what? I kind of like it better the other way, this way. I had it before. I think that's probably a bit more. There's more harmony there. There's no doubt. This was a big old swing fail. So the top of the market. Get rid of these numbers. So like swinging above that high there with here. The classic bull trap, you know. So if people sort of like suspected that, I want to go back and visit my old streams like from around, it was inauguration day, the 20th, like, and see if I was on track with any kind of ideas, or even if I was suggesting anything. I don't think I was. I was probably just watching it. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't really expect. I think a lot of people didn't really expect this to unfold like this after inauguration. You know, it was kind of like an SNL style situation. Like, you know, you had all this anticipation. You got the election. Trump won the election, comes up, gets all bullish and exciting, and then, you know, he finally gets inaugurated, and then nothing but, you know, corrective action. It's like you kind of have to suspect it when things like that happen. You've got to be suspicious of, and I'm going to try and be more suspicious of, like, you know, event style things, and just be a little bit more, I don't know what you'd call it, scrutinizing, scrupulous, is that the word? Anyway, so the cool thing is, yeah, it's a falling wedge. That's typically bullish. So the expected outcome of that would be upside. And yeah, this is the price that I'm checking out. This 88, I'm gonna call it 89K, to really convincingly get on top of things. Let's get above 90. You know, let's see prices back above 90. That really changes the flavor of the market. What's up, Blake? Fed coming to the rescue. Yeah, possibly. I've read some little ideas about that on X. Seen some posts, people saying about like, oh, he's probably gonna cut, or he's gonna have to do something to, or something like the Fed are prepared to do what is necessary to stabilize the markets or something like that. Not the markets, because that's not their focus. Their focus is reducing inflation and keeping jobs, like, you know, people in jobs, basically. What is they call it a dual mandate. Let me read it out. The dual mandate of the Federal Reserve to promote maximum employment and stable prices. The dual mandate. This means the Fed strives to keep unemployment low while also ensuring inflation remains relatively stable. It's weird because, like, strong employment means people have money, like, you know, like the economy's working, things are functioning normally. Now it's kind of like a snake eating its tail. Like, you've got employment, but then everyone's got money to spend on goods and services, so that can drive inflation. You know, more demand outweighing supply is what causes prices to go up. So, and that is inflation. But part of that is part of inflation is also government, or not government, but the Federal Reserve printing money, like diluting the money supply, can cause these like imbalances as well. Like if they go too hard at it, COVID was like a magnified example of what happens when they go over the top. But I guess they kind of had to. They didn't really know what was coming with that whole pandemic thing. But geez, what a time in history that we've all come out of. That was, gross. That was, you know, that was the way. That's how we kicked off the current decade, the 20s. Started with a global pandemic, and now we're still kind of picking up the pieces, like economically, with the fallout of like how countries reacted with the money, to keep the machine turning, to keep the economy rolling and surviving. But let's see. So that's Bitcoin. I was gonna have a look at some alts as well. Look at the fact that in this like little snapshot of coins here, Bitcoin is outperforming ADA, Dogecoin, XRP, XLM, Sand, EGLD, like Ethereum, of course. Link's a little bit ahead, but to have such a strong performance out of Bitcoin, I think that is a really good sign. That's like it's cutting the path. Like I feel like Bitcoin is like the scout of a search party, and the scout is ahead with a machete, cutting all the growth through the jungle, like cutting a path for the rest of the market to come, you know, and follow it. So that's what's happening right now, I think. I think you've got Bitcoin leading the way, cutting the path, and trying to get back up on top of things. But I'm going to open up an S&P 500 chart. So there were two gaping holes. There was two gaps. This one got filled down here, so that's checked. This one is still open, this gap. So on this fall, huge hole. the most impressive day that I've ever seen on the S&P 500 when I've been looking at it, because I mean I wasn't looking at markets when it did a day like this previously, but yeah, it's not common, it's not often that the market goes up 10.5% in one day on the you know, the indexes. So that's really cool. Yeah, quantitative easing, yes. Quantitative easing actually is a bullish thing because it's essentially it's money supply coming in. You know, more supply, more money for buying things. So, and that translates to, you know, people having more liquidity to go long in the market, like, and buy stock or buy crypto. It's the tightening we have to be careful when they, as soon as you hear in the future, like if this, you know, of course it's going to happen again, but like when the Fed announces that they're going to start tightening, or like that quantitative tightening is happening, you know that that's the time to secure whatever profit you had and start getting defensive and, like, you know, bearish. You know, you know, because a bear market or a correction is around the corner when that starts happening. But it's usually a response to, you know, at least in recent times, it was like, or the last occasion, it was the response to inflation. You're raising interest rates, tightening, quantitative tightening. All right. So we've covered the SPY, we've covered Bitcoin. Bitcoin's still in a downtrend, on at least on this time frame. This is like the 4-hour chart. So jump up to the daily chart. I would argue that's downtrend as well. You go weekly though, it's uptrend. It's a violent uptrend still. Like, there's no threat to the structure still on the weekly chart. You've got this high, this pullback is a low, this high, this pullback is a low, this high, and then this pullback we've just been through. Now, notice that this is not under threat. We're not threatening this previous low. We are still violently in a bull market, I would argue. Yes, it's been like brutal in this correction, this current correction, but we're still good. We're still, you know, we've just reclaimed 80k. Like, we've had that dip below 80. That was a beautiful buying opportunity, by the way. Especially if we see a continuation of like the recovery coming out of here and rallying back up. The scary thing is, if you're like an Elliott wave person, or if you do that kind of thing, this has been like, well, I've seen people suggest this is like a wave 1, this was 2, that was 3, this was the 4th wave, and then we've had the 5th. So this run is done. Like, this is, but that's not to say that you can't, I don't think it means that you can't just go like this. Like, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then start a brand new run, right? Like a new 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, anyway, that's the thing with Elliott wave. It's so subjective, and you can make it, I'm sure you can come up with a bullish scenario just as much as you can come up with a bearish one for the charts. So yeah, that's how I'm seeing it. What's up, Sincere? Mega fuckwad. Evening, peeps. What's up, buddy Langford? Yeah, I'm still around. I'm still kicking. I'm always watching the charts. My computer stays on like 24/7, and I have TradingView open like chronically. Like, it's always open. Always ready to check that, like, if something's breaking out or something's happening. But as far as like streaming, yeah, I've been pretty Pretty touch and go with the streaming lately. Pretty patchy, but still around. You definitely know I'll be jumping on streams if we get like back above 90. Well, there'll be a lot to talk about and a lot of hype to to like cover. I want to check out some altcoins. Like I haven't really looked at altcoins in a little while. Hey, speaking of trend lines, let's look at XRP very quickly. This was cool. You had 1, 2, and then almost 3 there. But it kind of, I don't know, I guess it depends what chart you're looking at, but there was definitely a trend line coming across, at least by 1, 2, and then, you know, it took a bit of a breakout and then a back test, kind of like a bounce off the flipper type thing, like where you come up and then you recheck the top side of that trend for support, and then, you know, here's a really nice reaction right here. Getting above 2 and holding above 2 has been nice, even on this retracement here. We've spent hours coming backwards here. Like, what's this been? 1, 2, 3. This is the 4th hour. Yeah, it's been a little while there, pulling back to what is this trend line. So look at this bottom side. You've got 1, 2. I'm gonna call that 3, but it's like 3, 4, 5. Like there's a triple touch there. That's a very strong 3. That's a very defined and strong. And look at the way, once again, trend lines give you the answer. Like, where's the price gonna bounce or react or pivot? Right on the trend line, man. Like, very close. So that's a definite 4. Now, I'm not suggesting that, on the 6th touch it does this. I'm just saying, like, these are the ones that I've found. I don't even really need to number them. You just need to identify where they touched so that you can draw the line. So there, all of that there. See, we didn't know what was going to happen. So if you go back in time, like, oh, okay, there's the 3rd touch. It's like a triple touch. Okay, it's like, okay, where are we heading now? If we pull back, where do you think we're going to find a reaction? On the trend line, maybe? And yes, like initially anyway. So they're not bulletproof. They can break down, of course, or break out, like over here. But they're very helpful. I think it's a good start. It's always good to be tracking trends. Not to mention, it is good to be aware of where the previous highs were. Like, here's a pivot. Here's a very substantial double top right here. So this $2 and it's basically $2.09. I think if we manage to rally up to that soon, there's probably going to be some kind of reaction at it, or at least a slowing of the progress, and then maybe break up through, but we'll see. It's either obviously it's either going to be, if we get to that level, it's going to be a breakout or a breakdown, back down, like a reaction. But yeah, XRP's looking all right. It's got some catch up to do, but I think the fact that it slowed down compared to Bitcoin today was because of how rapid it raced out of this area. Like it came back up very quickly. It even had to cool back off again, like in an ABC correction, just right here. Yeah, it's grinding along, grinding up. We haven't even tested last cycle all-time high. Structure is still there. Yeah, like if you want to get technically, like with Bitcoin, last year's all-time high was, what was it? It was just shy of 74k, 73,750, and I think that's pretty damn close. Like, technically, no, it didn't touch it, but it's so close. You know that demand's gonna step in, like, when price gets anywhere near the old high. Like, that's gonna cause a reaction, you know? Beautiful double bottom W low right there. But yeah, what I'm watching, this is the prime situation that I'm watching. I want to see Bitcoin convincingly get out of this wedge to the top side, you know, get out of it. I wouldn't be surprised if it got out and then back tested. Like, you know, there's always the back test that can happen before the actual move breaks out, you know, a bounce off the flipper, so to speak. That's not to say that it can't just rocket and not look back. Like, if the conditions are right, that does happen too, right? Where it just breaks out and never comes back. But obviously the catastrophic outcome would be if the wedge completely fails and, you know, some more term, like something bad happens, another black swan or whatever, and we lose the wedge and completely invalidate it. You know, that'd be like your kind of higher time frame break of, you know, break of structure. Break of, you know, this previous high would be brutal. But alright, let's look at some other bits and pieces. Sleepers patchy. Yeah. Anonymous, what's up, Anonymous? Hey Rick, thanks for streaming today. You're welcome. My pleasure. Bonk is almost up 50% from the bottom of the drop of April 7th. And Sol almost up 30. Wow, yeah, that's really nice. That's good. Let me do the big old, like, octo view. As in 8 screens at once. So we'll do the blue chips. So we got Bitcoin cutting the path there. Solana's done really cool. Ethereum, poor old Ethereum, like, it's just not getting any love lately. Up 7.5% from that low. Solana's up, like, you know, at a maximum of 13.5, if you're talking about the extremes. Bitcoin 7.5 almost. If we go to the 4-hour, let me go to the 4-hour chart. We'll get the low, like this low over here. So Bitcoin from the low, the highest it's progressed is almost 13%. Ethereum, the highest it's performed since the low. It got a spike, like, that's sizable. That's 21, almost 22%. It's nothing to be sneezed at. XRP, almost 30 out of XRP. What's Link done since the low? Almost, well, 27.7. And then you've got the other, like, you know, Doge, Solana, XLM, Sui. 26, yeah, so they're all roughly in the same ballpark. Obviously Bitcoin's so massive, it takes a lot to move it. So it's not going to get that same, like, performance level of the altcoins, but it's cool to see Ethereum, you know, get up there somewhat on the bounce, but it's been a grind. XLM, yeah. Sui. I haven't traded Sui ever, but I know it's a legit altcoin. Like, it's pretty I think it's a layer 1, right? I think it's a layer 1. Solana has actually locally got an uptrend going. So, like, if you're talking about this time frame here, that's an uptrend. You've got higher lows and higher highs. Same with Dogecoin. Dogecoin, to maintain this progress, it needs to get above that. So, I mean, Solana's done it, like, just technically. It's back below it, but yeah, you need to establish that uptrend that sort of Bitcoin Bitcoin's done it too, look. Higher high, higher low, higher high again. XRP, yes, uptrend, but struggling to reclaim that high or get above it at the moment, but we'll see how this day, we're in the weekend now, so we'll see how the weekend unfolds. But yeah, Link, similar, this Link looks kind of similar to XRP here, with the structure. Alright, let's look at some shit coins, some meme coins. Fart coin. So all of this year, like with all of the craziness and the market uncertainty, Fart coin has been doing rallies. Like it's been pulling numbers. Like check this out. From like these lows over here, it's come up 204 just on that bounce there on the daily chart. That's since like early March. And then you take a measure of even this bounce here up to there, that's another 171. You take the whole thing, it's like almost 400%, 385 off the bottom. Meanwhile, you know, Peanut, Chill Guy, Mudang, Whiff, like Pepe, like while there's some good days here and there, it's got nothing on Fartcoin. Fartcoin's been crazy. If the market turns back on soon, like in a big way, Fartcoin's definitely coming back up, like pretty. I think Fartcoin will be like a leading meme coin. If we get like some kind of meme season out of this year, whenever that might happen. It's hard to predict when they're going to happen. You kind of just have to look at the Bitcoin dominance chart and see when there's like a hint of the altcoins having a turn. But yeah, it's cutting its own path there, Fartcoin. It's pretty interesting. What do we got for the rest of this month? We're like, so it's mid-month. We're like the 12th of April at the moment. Almost mid-month. All of the major kind of events have happened, apart from one. We got Powell speaking on the 17th. That could be interesting. PPI came in below the forecast, which is good for markets. That's good. So this GDP, we need to know if I open up the GDPs, right? Let me go here, open up the chart of it and go line graph. So there was COVID, the crazy GDP spike. Let me just like zoom in on like more recent action, like since okay. So there's zero. I'll hold my mouse at where zero is. To get a recession, you need two GDP reports, two consecutive GDP reports below zero. So that's a recession right there. You've got minus 1.4 and then minus 0.9. That's a technical recession. This is where, like back in 2022, the government tried to change the definition around what a recession was. But everyone knew it was a recession. Like it was a brief recession. Luckily, we got things back up over zero and got some growth back in. But yeah, slight bit back to like a downtrend on the GDP. Hopefully that picks up, but we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how the tariffs affect the GDP. But yeah, as long as we're staying above zero, that means we're not risking a recession. When you get below zero, it's like, okay, that's checkpoint one. We're halfway to a recession. But yeah, so we don't have a forecast yet. The last report came in at 2.3% for GDP, which is good. That's still growth. You just want to be somewhat above zero. What do we got? We're approaching the daily close. So this was the Friday candle. Let's just go on a Bitcoin chart here. Open up the daily. We've got like a bullish engulfing for the Friday candle. That's good. Now, as you know, the weekends can be kind of flat. Let me just get the weekend indicator up. So the green highlights the Saturday, the blue highlights the Sunday. So recently, this was something I was talking about not long ago. I've noticed that Sunday and Monday are corrective, or have been correct, like quite often corrective. Saturday is flat, and then you get, you know, things start getting some action come like midday Sunday into Sunday afternoon, Monday morning, you know. But let me just zoom in a bit. So this is a typical weekend here, flat. And then I've noticed, yeah, Monday, correction. Kind of, if you treat the weekend as like a range, it's kind of flat compared to the weekly range of that. Like look how different the range is during the week compared to the weekend. The weekend's quite short from top to bottom. But yeah, Monday correction or Sunday afternoon correction after the weekend range. Let's get more examples. Weekend range. Saturday, Sunday, flat. Midnight, Sunday, correction. Monday morning, correction. Saturday, flat. Sunday, it got started very early. Correction. Even Monday was bleeding at that point. That's a nasty one. This one, okay, this is actually an example of the other outcome. This was a crappy week. Look how range bound we were during that week. Like it didn't really progress anywhere. So this was not an example of what I'm talking about. That's an exclusion. This weekend, pretty damn flat on Saturday, especially flat on Saturday, but then it was bleeding all Sunday into a Monday corrective move. And Tuesday, you have more of a fall. So yeah, it's like Sunday afternoon, Monday, Tuesday can be corrective, or has been lately. Flat weekend, Monday dumps. Whole week dump in that one. That was very nasty. That was late February. So you can see the pattern. You can see like what I'm getting at. There's just many instances of corrective Mondays. This was like an announcement. This was a tweet, I believe, by Trump. He said, I think he made a post on X, something about strategic reserve. He mentioned XRP, Solana, and ADA, Cardano, and it pushed. Like even Bitcoin came up, and he said, of course, I like Bitcoin and Ethereum later on, but that caused that huge pump. And then we got this like rebound, like this huge dump out. Like it was extremely volatile. So if you just smooth that out, like if you were to just, if there was no announcement, it probably would have just done, you know, something like that, and then, you know, trended. But yeah, pretty powerful tweet that was. But yeah, once again, Saturday, low, like short, tight range compared to the week. The week is where the action happens, the weekdays. Weekends, flat, especially Saturday. So Bitcoin going flat and predictable on Saturday, sometimes that means that the altcoins have the confidence to do things like and rally or do pumps because they know that Bitcoin's not going to do anything crazy for the day. So the memes, like the altcoins, can have a play. But yeah, once again, weekend, Sunday dump, Monday correction, like they're everywhere. This one even, like Sunday correctiveness. So this had a little bit of a relief, but still range bound, still like underneath the weekend range, high. And then you corrected late Monday into Tuesday. But yeah, Thursdays and Fridays have been kind of cool. I like Thursdays, Fridays. Look at this weekend though. Saturday flat, and then you had a rally Sunday, Monday. So that's outside the behavior. So we've had 2 out of how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not here. 7. Arguably 8. Like 8 out of what's that? 8 out of 11 weekends have been this behavior of going flat on Saturday and then correcting Sunday, Monday. This is a little bit wild. I think we got the daily close now. So we closed the Friday candle. Yeah, this weekend was actually a downtrend. And then you had a recovery on Monday, so that was a bit tougher to predict. So that's not an example. This is an example. Last weekend, once again, weekend dumping Sunday into Monday, and then that's when we got our double bounce. I could probably go back and find more examples, but you get the gist of it. Just ever since inauguration, it's been doing this. Like even before it, like you had these Monday dumps. There's a Monday pump. Here's a Monday dump. So it's not every single, like it's not guaranteed, but it's just a very high frequency. Like it's a high likelihood that you get a corrective Monday. Corrective Monday, corrective Monday, corrective Monday. Not there. Not there, not there. See, this was, things were just way too bullish for the Mondays to be corrective. When the market slows down, it seems like Mondays people panic. Or like, you know, the correction of the Thursday, Friday bullish or like activity or overexuberance gets corrected, retraced. All right. So we're in the Saturday candle, guys. Ready to get flat and boring? You may as well go. This is where I would go altcoin hunting. Like if you want something to do in the market during Saturday, the Saturday candle, open up your crypto pair screener. Now I trade on Bybit, so this is the way I do it. You click on this down here, this crypto pairs screener. Shout out to Trago for showing me this, but essentially what you can do is you can open up the set. Oh wait, this is like a preset. Let me just find where I can get the filters. Filters here. So this, you can choose your exchange. Like there's a lot of different exchanges, probably like Coinbase on here and like, you know, BitGet, BitMEXC, like there's so many. Obviously a lot of the crypto exchanges are on here. But anyway, I'm just interested in what's available on Bybit that I can trade. And then I'm interested in the perpetual contracts. So the USDT perpetuals. You can do it by spot or futures or whatever. But yeah, I'm going perpetual Bybit. And then I've only got two parameters. Bybit, perpetuals. That's my parameters. That's my filters. So I've got 2 there. And then I just arrange the like the columns. So go into this. There should be a way to edit. I think it's maybe these dots. Column setup. So I've got everything turned off except for price and change percent. Probably don't even need price on there. But yeah, I just have it on there anyway. But yeah, change. And then what I'll do is arrange the list by performance. And something is already screaming out of the gate. Saturday. This is Tyco. Let's open up Tyco. What's it doing? It's like it's erupted on market open right now. Be careful, it's volatile, but yeah, it's it just decided to rally. Who knows where that's going to go for the rest of the day, but that's a good way to check like what's popping, like what's actually rallying right now, what's exploded out of the gate. WLD, I think that's world coin. Shiba, SHIB is up out of the gate. I think that's Shiba. Is that right? I don't think so. No, that can't be right. Maybe this needs updating. This these percentages aren't moving actually. Have you noticed that? Let me just refresh. Yeah, like those definitely haven't even moved yet. These change percent figures, but there's no doubt, yeah, this Tyco thing has erupted out of the gates. Are you DCAing which coins, Rick? I'm in an XRP position. It's not a DCA, it's more of just like a trade, like a swing trade. I'm trying to get the recovery swing. That's what I'm kind of hoping for. I did get in a position down here and got this reaction. Very lucky. I didn't know what was going to happen. I'm just lucky, right? But I did get long somewhere in here. The reason I got long was because we had this low, and this was like a significant higher low, like this. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get long in here. I didn't know it was going to come up that high, like so rapidly. I did take profit around, I don't know, probably like around here, thinking that was, you know, that it was gonna lose that top, and it kind of did. Like it got a lower high, and I was thinking, oh, I don't want to round trip this, and I'm gonna secure, you know, the trade that was. It might have even been down here that I took profit, but anyway, I was just scared of round tripping all the way back down to where I got in. So I took the profit, but that's okay. Taking profits is all right. I did get back in. This is what this green line is. This is where I'm long from. I think I got in. I can't remember where it was. It had to have been somewhere around like here or here. At lower leverage, I think this one was a 5x long, and this one is a 2x. So this is lower leverage, but yeah, same margin, lower leverage. Just a bit safer because I'm a little bit not totally certain of anything. I'm still as indecisive and like uncertain as the rest of the market, or a lot of people would be indecisive, I think, at the moment. No one really knows what's coming. It's been a very curveball kind of year so far. This year, it's been like, you know, there's been bullishness news, there's been bearish news, like it's gone all over the place. I think the most recent CPI that came out was optimistic. I think it was like a 2.4 off a 2.5 core forecast. Now this was originally a 2.6 forecast, but we managed to get back down to 2.4. That's excellent. We're heading in the right direction with inflation. So let's just take it from like the extreme of 9.1% inflation. We rapidly made progress, but as soon as we got around 3, it's been like sticky. Like we haven't been able to get that final, 2% target. I think the lowest we got was 2.3, and then the most recent report was wait a minute, no, 2.4. So we're at the lowest reading. And then if you check out Trueflation over here, Trueflation, It's down at like 1.35%. That's awesome. That's really good. So if we get anywhere near that for the next report, like, you know, that's a good sign. Look at the Argentinian inflation. That's crazy. 42 point. They basically got, they have hyperinflation right now. I don't know if that's accurate. What the hell? Like 300% inflation? What the hell? 42% is a good reading for them. Jeez, they got hammered. India hasn't been too bad. But yeah, Argentina, damn. The UK has been pretty bad. They got up over 20% inflation. Gross. See if there's Australia. I don't know that they do a metric for Australia, but yeah, interesting website. You can find the sectors as well. Trending data streams. Why Trueflation? Deep data. We track 30 million items from over 80 plus data sources. That's a lot. Granular categories. They probably do a better job at tracking inflation than the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the BLS. Because this gives you a live view of, you know, metrics, whereas I feel like the BLS, they put one out that looks back on the month that was, and it's kind of curated. It feels like they've, you know, it gets revised and then they'll release a figure, whereas this is a bit more live and transparent almost, you know. That's the vibe I get from it. 30 to 50% faster than government statistics agencies. People get angry at Trueflation because it has been, like, in the past, reporting numbers lower than the BLS has even put out for that portion of the year. So it's like, who's lying? Like, who's, or maybe not lying, but who's more accurate? Like, who actually is less biased? But yeah, that's a rabbit hole to go down. Let's see if Fartcoin can keep the momentum for Saturday. How does it treat Saturdays, by the way? Let's go full screen Fartcoin and let's turn on the weekend indicator. And just look at what tends to happen on the weekends. Yeah, nothing too crazy. All of the crazy action has been during the week, actually. There's like, well, that was a big weekend. Oh, that was the inauguration, yeah, okay. So, I think I'm going to wrap this one up anyway. It's been good to sort of touch base again and see what's been happening. Bitcoin's starting to give us a little bit of hope of this correction, I think. The fact that we're, like, once again, the fact that we're visiting the top side of the wedge more often than the bottom side is a good thing. I think that's bullish. You know, it's like the market wants to see it break the resistance more times than, you know, like hitting the breakdown. Like the downside's a little bit more scarce. There's less frequency of dumps, which is good, I think. But the dumps have been brutal, of course. All right. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you on the next one. Hopefully there's something exciting to talk about, into next week. We'll see how it goes. All right. Have a good weekend, guys.